Hello, welcome to my multi-threading video in HTML and JavaScript. The multiple threads are called workers, so let's get this started. The standard worker you would be calling a JS file. So worker1.js, which is this, is exactly the same code as the second way that you can call a worker, and that's inside of a blob, which is a fake. You notice that code is the same. So we set the worker as worker1, then we have worker on message, and so when the worker outputs, which here's the code from worker.js, self.postMessage x. So it sends the value here, which becomes e, and so the output of the message is sent here. And you have worker1, worker2, which doesn't need a separate file. Sometimes you may not want your workers to have to use a second file. Which brings us to normal. This is what it would look like if you weren't using a worker and you wanted to get basically the same thing done. And then we just have some outputs. So here it is in Chrome. Are multiple threads possible? Yes. And that test is up here. If type of worker doesn't equal undefined, then yes, workers are allowed. So, when you test the worker, I can still type and I can still do stuff while it's counting for 5 seconds. And it counted to 2.4 million. Second worker, which is going to come back with 2.4 million roughly. Yeah, see, they're exactly the same speed. Any slight differences is just random. Now, when the non-worker's counting, I can't click the page and I can't do anything. And so when a page freezes solid, it's because some code is not in a worker, it's in a non-worker. And the page can't do anything until it's completely done with the non-worker. So if I click just the first two, I can still click and move around. But then when I click the third one, I can't click around. And this one's slightly more because I started it when those two had already been started. So it had a little bit of time when neither of them were running there because that's closer to normal. Now we pop it up in Chrome. Now if you're going to run this in Chrome, then what you need to do is you need to change your Chrome settings, and you need to add, for the shortcut for Chrome, allow file access from files. It's unfortunate that you have to do this, but you won't need to do this if it's on a website and you're hosting it online. You do need to do this for offline testing of the files. Okay, multiple threads possible, yes. Worker1, worker2, non-worker. Counting for 5 seconds. I used to have this set to 10 seconds, but it took a little too long for the video. Yeah, you will get random stuff happening. That doesn't mean that there's any difference between worker1 and worker2. Yeah, see, they're the same. There's just random stuff happening. And even in Chrome, you can't move. You can't select text or type anything. So let's run the first two workers. And I can type. Okay, and now we bring up Task Manager. So you'll notice that Chrome here, worker1, worker2, non-worker, Chrome is not using my entire processor, which is interesting. I don't know why it's not using the whole processor. 33% is 1/3 of my triple core. And when I use a standard worker, it also uses about 33%. And then if you pop over to Firefox, and you run all three workers, Firefox will actually get up to almost 100%, which is interesting. I wonder why Chrome doesn't. One worker's only 30%, and 2 tasks running will be about 66%, thereabouts. That's interesting. But you'll notice Chrome does count to a higher number when you do it. 2.4 million, and in Chrome, for some reason, it's counting much higher. I might have to play around with the implementation. 11 million. It's interesting. Well, that's it for this video. So, there's workers. Bye.